Hello, everyone. I'm Kibin Alleyne, and today is Tuesday, July 25th. You're now watching Open, a program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to you. Don't forget to stay connected with us via social media at BronxNet TV. As more people rely on e-bikes to get around or to simply make deliveries, the presence of e-bike fires are on the rise in New York City. The cause of these fires stem from lithium-ion batteries, but one organization may have a solution. Zapbatt is using their platform to address how we can prevent these fires, and it involves using a new battery chemistry made of lithium titanate. CEO and founder of Zapbatt, Charlie Welch, joins me to discuss. Charlie, thank you so much for joining me.
Great, thanks for having me.
Now, for those who are unaware, can you just tell us a little bit of more backstory on the situation with e-bikes and the dangers that they're causing around our city?
Absolutely. So, New York is like a perfect storm for e-bike batteries because they're put in a very stressful environment in almost every way. New York has hot, cold, humid, salt on the streets, and for delivery workers who are using e-bike batteries, they're typically using them for long hours, as much as they can, and then immediately putting them to charge. And so, for batteries, it's a very stressful environment to put them into, and we're seeing what's happening when part of the fringe cases are showing of what happens when safety starts to come in line and those batteries are getting overstressed or starting to go into thermal runaway.
Right. And I could imagine in like an area like New York City where it's so condensed and so many people, like having a fire with a battery is just like not the best thing. Can you just tell us a little bit, what was the process or inspiration behind the development of Zapbat lithium? Am I saying this correct? Titanate batteries?
Correct, tighten.
Okay, so yeah, can you just talk about the inspiration behind that, and maybe what got the organization thinking of this?
Absolutely. So I had worked with the military for a long time in battery research, putting battery systems in as exotic environments as you can think of on and off this planet. I've even put battery systems up in the Arctic with polar bears. So I know what it's like to put batteries in kind of all the worst case conditions. So part of the inspiration was that a lot of industries are looking for a better battery technology, but most importantly, they're looking for something that's proven. And so, as opposed to inventing a new battery, at Zapbat, we're trying to commercialize this chemistry, lithium titanate, which has actually been around for quite a while. It's just kind of existed in the shadows in all these different markets. And so, we're trying to offer industries something that's been not only proven throughout the last 1 to 2 decades, but has improvements in safety and lifetime and charge time and reliability across the board. So, for cities like New York, they can get access to a new battery technology, even though it's not new, but it solves a big problem for them in a variety of ways.
Now, I kind of heard you mention a few things, but can you talk about the advantages of using this new battery over what so many e-bikes are currently using, which is lithium-ion batteries?
Absolutely. So there's three key advantages. One is charge time. So our e-bike battery can fully charge from 0 to 100 in about 15 minutes, which typically can take 4 to 5 hours, which adds a lot of convenience for consumers and delivery workers. The second one is lifespan. So on average, our battery over its lifetime will outlast 10 to 15 lithium ion e-bike batteries. A normal e-bike battery is rated for around 1,000 cycles, or how many times you charge and discharge it. Ours is certified for 15,000, so it's a much more economical lifetime. And then the last one is safety. So because of the core chemistry in lithium titanate, it is at the top of the list when it comes to safety for any type of lithium chemistry battery. The e-bike battery here on our desk right now, I could hammer a nail straight through if I wanted to right now without it going into thermal runaway. So we're trying to offer something that improves on all three categories that are affecting New York for these safety, reliability, and lifetime problems.
Now, you talked about the lifespan. I want to know, is that what is causing some of those lithium ion batteries to, I guess, explode or start these fires? Is it because of the lifespan of it, or is it like overcharging? What's exactly causing those fires?
Yeah, a great question, and variety of reasons. So, lifespan is definitely a factor. So, people are trying to push how long their battery can last. We're in this kind of first wave of electrification, and we're seeing what happens when start some of these systems start to age, and lifespan is definitely a critical factor for that. The second one is just sometimes mismatched. So sometimes people plug in the wrong charger into the wrong battery, And that's a big issue for lithium-ion batteries because if you plug in the wrong charger, you can actually force the battery into a thermal runaway. Which a little known fact is that the reason battery fires are so bad is they have all three ingredients for a self-sustaining fire. They have oxygen, they have heat, and they have fuel. So once the fire is started, there's no putting it out until the battery's dumped all of its energy. So there's kind of this myriad of factors that are actually causing the fires, unfortunately, from a variety of conditions.
So, a lot of what you mentioned sounds very scientific. But so many people use these things, or these bikes or these batteries on a daily basis. Can you talk about how these new batteries, or as you mentioned, they're not new, but I guess they're new to this area. How will they have to navigate that? Is this something that they'll have to think about when they charge, or is this something that's a little bit different and probably an advantage of getting this over lithium ion batteries?
No, we hope it to be just a one-for-one swap. You take the battery off of your e-bike, put a Zapbatt battery on, and then you'd now get all these great benefits to it. We want to really remove all the barriers to entry for getting access to this technology and kind of taking away a bunch of the safety issues. For example, our battery actually, oversimplified, is kind of a smart battery. So you can actually plug in any charger you want into the battery using a piece of technology we've developed, and the battery will automatically adjust all of its internals so that it can charge off any charger, again, removing a safety factor that has been historically challenging for e-bike batteries.
Now, because of the high cost of quality e-bikes, users often purchase cheaper options that compromise their safety. Can you expand on how this practice is actually going to cost people a lot more in the long run?
Definitely. So in the e-bike space, folks have looked at the bottom line upfront cost historically, but we're trying to shift them to more of a total cost of ownership. So an e-bike battery for a delivery worker most likely lasts 6 months to a year. And our battery is a little bit more expensive, but they'll last them 5 to 10 years plus. We technically say up to 20, but we know that sometimes people want to upgrade or certain things in there. So
Okay. Now, so many household items rely on lithium batteries. Would lithium titanate work for these items as well?
absolutely. We Zapbatt are trying to get lithium tightening to a whole variety of products just because we want to promote the idea that batteries should last longer, both from a cost but from a sustainability standpoint, as well as have the convenience of faster charging, of a safer technology in your house. And that applies to almost any product you see around you in your home today.
Now, I think the battery that you showed us was lithium ion, correct?
No, this is one of ours. So this is
Oh,
a
okay.
lithium titanate. So this is the lithium titanate core chemistry, and then this is our electronics that help it unlock so it can do what it does so well.
Now, like charging that, how does that differ from what people are doing now?
So that's kind of the guts of it, obviously. Charging would be the exact same. It would come with a standard charger that you plug in, and then it would just be faster, basically. So
Now, is there any specific guidelines that users must follow to ensure safety, good performance, and longevity when they are using Zapbat batteries?
for us, not as much. So we're since this is a military proven technology, we're comfortable telling people push it to its boundaries as much as you want. And then we've added a lot of the internal safety checks so that things like using different chargers or different aspects are all taken care of. So we wanted to remove that barrier that people have to have this big knowledge base of batteries to be able to use something safely.
Now, how can e-bike users start to transition into lithium titanate batteries? I know for a lot of people, when they hear something new, sometimes they're a little bit apprehensive, but what can that transition process look like for e-bike users?
Yeah, so we Zapbatt for New York specifically are going to be launching a initial e-bike battery operation in New York this fall, and so we're hoping people can kind of keep their ear to the ground and see which operators or which e-bike companies are going to be launching this battery first, and then hopefully working with some companies to offer a retrofit so that if they wanted to swap to our battery, they could purchase one from us directly or from one of our partners, so that within the next year they would have anybody would have the option to switch to a Zapbatt battery.
And just to clarify, do they need to purchase possibly a new bike that would be upgraded for this, or do they simply just need the new battery?
Just need the new battery. Yeah, they can keep their bike.
Now, can you just expand on maybe the importance? Like I mentioned, some people may not want to make the switch, or they may think there's nothing wrong with their current batteries. But can you just stress the importance of, really paying attention to this, and how you can't really put a price on your safety, and eventually, if you're working in that field, you don't want to put on a price on that either. So can you just expand on that a little bit more?
Absolutely. The core of it is that to have a truly safe system, you need to change the core chemistry of the battery. Like there's a good reason our cars don't run on, nitromethane racing fuel. It's because sure they could get better performance, but it'd be an unsafe thing to do. So at the core of it, you want a battery that inherently has improved safety features in the battery chemistry, like lithium titanate, and has been proven to do so. With all other lithium ion battery chemistries, you are pushing a boundary of that chemistry in certain conditions, having big challenges and causing fires. And so we highly encourage people to really think about that, because it is something that they can't prevent when it does happen. And as New York has seen, the prevalency is only going up, unfortunately. So we think it's time for people to adopt a safer and proven technology like lithium titanate into their e-bikes.
And do you think that possibly the city should help educate? Because I think education is probably like one of the main important things. Should they educate people in learning more about this?
Absolutely. I mean, the amount of batteries in and around our self in the next 10 years is going up. And I think that the last thing we want is safety issues, because that's only going to impede on the adoption of electrification. So we would love for the city to work, especially with gig workers, delivery workers, everybody that's really using a battery to drive their business. And we think that that's an important thing to gain education on, because we only see that trend going upwards currently.
Well, Charlie, I want to thank you so much for joining us and having this conversation.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and thanks for asking all those great questions.
Please go to www.zapbatt.com to find out more about Zapbatt batteries. Don't go away. We'll be back with more Open right after this.